kids these days with their hairstyles, stuff like that. I mean, I'm making funny hairstyles. Like, look at me, look at me. Fucking, I've no right to make fun of anybody's hairstyles, right? But schoolboy sent to isolation as mullet hairstyle too extreme. Right now, you know this isn't the 80s anymore, right? What did he do? Did he kickflip over the school fence? Pure like, yeah, bro. Like that was mullet. Like, what do you mean too extreme? sipping on a Mountain Dew for one of those like 90s like mall cups and stuff like that with the shades on, listening to his tape cassette, listening to The Cure. You know, like what? What do you mean he was too extreme? I mean, I'll admit, right? I'll extend a little bit of an olive branch here and say that he looks like a bit of a fanny, right? But you know, how's it too extreme? You know, it's business up front and party in the back. That's the famous saying about a mullet. Right, the mullet's coming back. One of my writers has a fucking mullet. We bully him for it all the time, but girls actually like it, by the way, which is strange. But a 15-year-old boy was put into isolation at school. Isolation? Is that just detention? What the fuck's isolation? That just sounds like prison. Oh, he's been sent to the digger. He got sent to Segi. Oh, what did he do? They shanked somebody up? No. He had a mullet. At school after being told his mullet hairstyle was too extreme. Toby Quinn was left fuming after his teacher said the famous Aussie style trim, was it really Australians? There you go, I did not know that. It was unacceptable and unprofessional. It's a mullet! It's some unprofessional, like, at school. Like, I'll admit, maybe if you worked in an office building where you were dealing with, like, wealthy clients or something like that, then maybe. But it's school. The most unprofessional haircut is a mullet. It's a mullet. There's nothing professional about a mullet. And gave him a week to chop it off. That is some bullshit. That is some absolute bullshit. Gave him a week to chop his fucking hair off. The schoolboy was separated from his classmates and kept in isolation for an entire day at St Aidan's Catholic Academy in Sunderland. Ironically, he had previously been punished the same way for having his hair too short, but now was told it was too long. What do you mean too short? I mean, a really common thing, by the way, like back in the day, like especially when I was at school, was like your mum would just get the head shears and just put like a 2, short back and sides. That was essentially what it was called sometimes. Fucking everything's blinking up on this computer, and I'm starting to get really sick of it. Short back and sides. Your mum just put a 2 on there and went brrr, like all over your head, and that was you. Right, there was many times where she got a little bit too gung-ho and I went to school every day looking like Uncle Fester. Right, but like, how can you get in trouble for having hair too short? I can remember back in the day people used to get in trouble for all kinds of shit. My wife got in trouble back in the day for having like blonde highlights in her hair and all that. The schools used to be really hard on that stuff and it was dumb. Oh, the kids have got a weird haircut. They're kids. Like, they're kids. Like... They're gonna. Everybody wants to stand out. Everybody wants to look cool. Fashion changes all over the place. Like, look at the haircuts that happened back in the 80s. Like, even though the mullet was pretty big in the 80s, but for some reason it's making a comeback. The mullet back then was actually the more sensible choice. Have you ever seen The Cure? Have you ever seen? Look at all the rock stars and everything back then. Their hair was mental. Right, if anything, hairstyles have calmed down. The mullet was the sensible choice. Several schools in Australia have banned the iconic hairstyle, which rose to prominence in the 70s and 80s, and made a comeback down under last year. It's a haircut. I don't understand why people are upset, but it is believed to be the first time a British school has clamped down on the mullet in recent years after it began coming back into fashion here. But why? I can't comprehend why. Is it... Does the knowledge not sink into his head that you're teaching him because it's escaping out the shaved sides? Why is this a problem? I don't understand why it's an issue. Once made famous by the likes of Jason Donovan, Rod Stewart and Andre Agassi, modern celebs like Miley Cyrus and Rihanna have all sported parties in the back. Toby's mum Naomi said that the school considered her son's new haircut as extreme after recently changing their haircut policy. Mum of 2 Naomi of Ashbrook, Sunderland, said his teacher said they'd changed the haircut policy policy and it had to go. They said that it wasn't professional and he wasn't allowed to have it and was told to cut it off. I don't know why a 15-year-old needs to be considered professional. Yeah, exactly. The general gist was that it was considered extreme. He did get isolated for having it. He got separated from the school community and he was there for the rest of the day. And that's the end. Oh, no, it's not. He's been in isolation previously for having his hair too short. They didn't allow skin fades. That's... You know, that's a military haircut. Like, how is it okay for the military, but it's not okay for a school? That's stupid. You're not allowed a skin fade. You know, I've got a skin fade. Well, kind of. It's grew in a bit now. But, I mean, to an extent, my hair's shit. But, like, that's dumb. That's so stupid. He was the only boy with a mullet in school, and they didn't like it. Staff told me he had to have his mullet cut off. I was told in a meeting it had to be cut off. That was about 4 weeks ago. They'd given him 7 days to get rid of the hair. The teenager was initially given a week to chop off his locks, but teachers extended the deadline when he revealed his plans to raise money for charity. And on Tuesday, Toby had his mullet cut off for Newcastle Hospital's charity to support a ward, which saved his granddad's life that year. See, there you go. There you go. That's nice. That's nice, okay? There's some good came out of it. He should have been allowed to keep his mullet. It's his fucking hair. Naomi, who is a hairdresser herself, added, we told them he's decided to raise money, and they said that he could have a couple of weeks. He wasn't happy at all, though, to lose the mullet. He said he was fuming, but he's come to terms with it. He's had a few weeks to digest it. I do really enjoy what the boy's done, though. Well, he's going like that. It's obviously a stupid, absolutely farcical situation, but he's turned around and went, you know what, fuck it, let's see if I can get some charity cash out of this. I like that. Well done, young man. Toby has managed to rake in over £340 in donations so far after setting up a Just Giving page 3 weeks ago. Naomi added, he thought it would be good to get something positive out of a pretty rubbish situation. I suggested it would be good to raise money for the unit that saved his granddad last year. We started 3 weeks ago. His target was £200, but he raised over £340 now. But he's a typical teenager, so he's pretty chilled about it all, Toby said. I was fuming when my mum told me the school said my mullet had to go. But then I thought about doing the fundraiser and making a bit of money for charity, and I felt better about it. My mum said that the Freeman Hospital in Newcastle, because they saved my granddad last year, and maybe I could help other people who've had heart attacks too. That's noble, that's good. Some good came out of the story, right? Well done, wee man. But, like, for example, you know, I've got staff, I don't fucking care what hairstyles my staff have. The only time I understand, like, people caring about hairstyles is, see if you've got, like, big, crazy hair, or you've got long hair, and you work in a place with, like, open exposed flames, or, like, heavy machinery, or stuff like that, or, for example, in security, where if you were a woman, or if you were a guy with long hair, you had to have your hair tied up, because during a fight, you know, people would grab your hair and try and pull your hair, which happens all the time. Mostly men, by the way, not so much women. Men would do that as well. But, aye, so in those situations, yeah, okay, I understand it, because there's a genuine risk to, like, safety there. You know, nobody wants their ponytail getting sucked into the fucking lathe. Right, and that I can totally understand. But this, oh, the 15-year-old's got a mullet. Oh, it's disrupting the class. Do you want to know what disrupted the class? Getting the entire school put in the fucking paper because you had a shit fit over a boy having a mullet. Why? What an absolute non-issue. See if it's like, oh, it's causing a don't point it out. Don't sit there and make a great big fucking deal about the boy's mullet. Right? See if he did do it for attention, then don't give him the attention. Just fucking everybody sit down and focus on your fucking algebra. And fucking get your work done. It's stupid. It's just, I'm sick of this. It's a sore spot for me because I got it in school and I've had it before in places that I've worked. It's just little fucking idiots on a power trip that are just making an absolute mountain out of a molehill over a complete fucking non-issue. Mullets still don't look nice though.